Hello dear students, let us continue with thinkers, beliefs and buildings, cultural development 600 BCE to 600 CE. Children, the 6th century BCE is considered the most important in the history of India. Why it is so? The Vedic tradition lost its grip in the 6th century BCE. There was an importance of meditation because of the increasing significance of Upanishads. People were curious to find new ways of seeking nirvana or salvation or self-realization. Consequently, many new philosophical ideas emerged in the society. Due to the emergence of new philosophical ideas, many new religious communities took birth. They were about 62 in number. Two great men were born in the 6th century BCE, Mahavir and Mahatma Buddha. They brought some reforms in Hinduism and presented it in a new form. However, their teachings took form of two new religions which became very popular as Jainism and Buddhism. Today, we will be dealing with Buddha. The Buddha and the quest for enlightenment. The life of Buddha. Born in 566 BCE at Kapilvastu in Bihar. Buddha was one of the most influential teachers of his time. His message spread across the subcontinent and beyond through Central Asia to China, Korea and Japan, and through Sri Lanka across the seas to Myanmar, Thailand and Indonesia. Buddha was named Siddhartha at birth and was the son of the chief of Sakya clan. He led a sheltered upbringing in the palace, detached from the harsh realities of life. He undertook a journey into a city which was a turning point in his life. He was deeply anguished when he saw an old man, a sick man and a corpse. It was at the moment that he realized that decay of human body was inevitable. He saw a mendicant who had come to terms with old age and disease and death and found peace. Soon after, Siddhartha left the palace in search of truth. He explored many paths including bodily mortification. He abandoned the extreme path and meditated for several days and finally attained enlightenment and came to be known as Buddha or the Enlightened One. For the rest of his life he taught Dhamm or the path of righteous living. A question generally asked from this topic is, describe how Buddha's teachings have been reconstructed from the stories of Sutta Pitaka. Children, the answer to this is, Sutta Pitaka is an important text of Buddhism. The Buddha's teachings have been reconstructed from the stories found mainly in the Sutta Pitaka. Although few stories describe his miraculous powers, others suggest that the Buddha tried to convince people through reason and persuasion rather than through displays of supernatural power. Children, remember reason and persuasion. These are the key words of Buddha. For example, when a grief-stricken woman whose child had died came to Buddha, he gently convinced her about the inevitability of death rather than bring her back to life. These stories were narrated in the language spoken by ordinary people so that these could be easily understood. Main teachings of Buddha. The world is transient and constantly changing. It has been given the name of Anicca. Second, Anatta. It is also soulless, Anatta, as there is nothing permanent or eternal in it. Within this transient world, sorrow, that is dukh, is intrinsic to human existence. It is by following the middle path between severe penance and self-indulgence that human beings can rise above these worldly troubles. In the early forms of Buddhism, whether or not God existed was irrelevant. Buddha regarded the social world as a creation of humans rather than divine origin and thus advised kings and Gehapatis to be human and ethical. Buddhism emphasizes literally the extinguishing of the ego and desires and thus ends the suffering of those who renounce the world. Keywords Anicca, Anatta and Dukkha. And Eightfold Path or the Middle Path. Followers of the Buddha, the Buddhist Sangha or the Bodhi Sangha. Buddha became very popular and many people became his disciples. So Buddha founded a Sangha which was an organization of monks. Buddha's last words to his followers were, "Be lamps unto yourselves, as all of you must work out your own liberation." The body of disciples of the Buddha or an organization of monks is called Sangha. Buddha founded a Sangha. It was an organization of monks who became teachers of Dhamma. These monks led a simple life, possessing only the essential requisites for survival, such as a bowl to receive food once a day from the laity. As they lived on alms, they were known as bhikkhus. Initially, only men were allowed into Sangha, but later women also came to be admitted. The Buddha's foster mother, Mahaprajapati Gautami, was the first woman to be included as bhikkhuni. Many women who entered the Sangha became teachers of Dhamma and became respected women who had attained liberation. The Buddha's followers came from many social groups. They included kings, wealthy men, Gehapatis, and also humbler folk, workers, slaves, and craftspeople. Once within the Sangha, all were regarded as equal, having shed their earlier social identities on becoming bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. The Buddhist Sangha, which comprised of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, functioned on the lines of ganas and sanghas, where consensus was arrived based on discussions. If discussions failed to bring about harmony, then decisions were taken by a vote on that particular subject. Spread of Buddhism. Buddhism grew rapidly both during the lifetime of the Buddha and after his death also. People were dissatisfied with the prevailing religions and were confused by the social changes that were occurring. Buddhism emphasized on the importance of conduct and values rather than claims of superiority based on birth. The emphasis was laid on metta, that is fellow feeling, and karuna, that is compassion, especially for those who were young and weaker than oneself. These were ideas that drew men and women to Buddhism. What was the impact of Buddhism on the Indian society? Morality increased. Moral of people became very high. They left many bad habits like lying, theft, criticism of anyone, etc. Eating habits changed. Eating habits of people changed drastically. People adopted the concept of non-violence and left eating flesh completely. They became vegetarian after adopting this religion. Stupas, mutts and vihars got constructed. Many stupas, mutts, vihars were built because of Buddhism. All these are the finest examples of architecture of that age. Indian literature developed. Many texts related to teachings and life of Mahatma Buddha were written. As a result, the Indian literature developed to a great extent. And lastly, state policies were influenced. Buddhism influenced state policies of many kings. For example, Ashoka. Under the influence of Buddhism, he made an objective of his life the welfare of public. In the same way, Kanishk and Harsh also did a lot for the welfare of the public. Buddhism not only spread in India, but abroad as well because of the efforts of its patrons.